Hey, everybody. Welcome to Don't Make Me Come Back There. We are a funny podcast about family. My name is Dustin Nickerson. I'm a stand-up comedian and the host of the aforementioned podcast. And alongside me in our state-of-the-art recording studio in downtown La Mesa, California, above Public Square Coffee, is my lovely wife, my co-host, overall great gal, Melissa Ruth Nickerson.
Hey there.
And our producer, Andy Lara. What's your middle name, Andy?
Lawrence.
A-L-L.
Spelled with the feminine L-A-U-R-A-N-C.
Oh.
Is that the feminine? I didn't know.
After my grandfather was named after his mother.
Oh.
So that's how
Laura?
Yes,
Laura?
exactly.
Oh,
Yep.
interesting. Andy Laura Lawrence.
Doesn't he do like a... No, he doesn't do a collar straightening thing.
Who? Who are you doing?
I'm sorry. I was confusing. I know who that is. It's that
Oh, I don't. Was that a
interviewer,
thing?
right?
Oh, Jiminy Glick. That wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing Jiminy Glick there.
I thought that's what
No.
it was.
That's very funny though. I'm honored to be thought of, and that in any way it was an homage to. I was like 32 when I realized that my mom is named. Her names derives from my grandfather, because you don't like that Larry, Lawrence, and her name Lori were at all connected. Sometimes
I did not know that.
Yeah, right.
I should have known
exactly. That was the same thing. I was like, oh, I should have put that together.
Well, that's when I
know I had the middle name that got passed down, but I didn't.
When we had a Gloria, and then we named our child Gloria. And then your mom would be around, and so you'd say Lori and Gloria, and those are very
Gloria
similar.
Yeah,
and I didn't,
Yeah. Well,
what do you? This is a group I want. What do people mash their kid names up together? When you I've done Jolia a lot, like Jolia,
or
Joel and Gloria,
Claria also works.
Or Glare.
Glare.
Yeah. Which is usually what they give you when you get...
is like a great...
Yeah.
It just works.
Yeah. It really is... It takes you a few, Joel, to sometimes you're already flustered and then you can't remember, you can't get the name right. And by the time you're in your fourth attempt, this is a infamous family story about where my cat's name came from growing up. My cat's name was Yehudi. And that came from when my grandma Isla, my dad's mom, couldn't remember the name of her children or the grandchildren or a cousin. She would get flustered and she would call them the names. Like, hey, Laura, Yehudi, come over here. So we couldn't think of a name of the cat, so we named it Yehudi.
All of her children and grandchildren had a D name.
Except...
Butch,
James,
Butch,
yeah, Butch, yeah, same nickname. Yeah, no, they had Donna, Dolores,
Dodie,
Darlene, Donald. You know what's funny is that's not even correct, because don't give me any tips here, because there are so many D names in my family that I have to focus on. Like Darlene is not one of them. That's a different D. That's a younger one. It's Donna, Dodie, which is Dolores, and Darla.
That's right.
And
That's
Dawn
right.
and Butch, who was a nickname from James, because James Nickerson was a family line. There was my grandpa James, and then his James 2 was Butch, and then James 3 was Jimmy and or Tater.
Yeah.
So
I don't know why she messed up the names.
And we've talked about this before, she would call me Duchess because that was the name of her deaf dog. And she would say Duchess all day long. And Duchess couldn't hear her because Duchess was deaf. But it was so in the mind that Dustin Duchess, which is the exact, start. So,
But she had a smoker voice.
Duchess. Duchess would run away, and she had this hill at the top. She had this house at the top of a hill, and Duchess, which was this deaf dog, would be wandering. Then the Duchess, Duchess, and we'd be like, she can't hear, Grandma. We just have to go get her. Duchess.
Yeah, nothing gets me like a grandma with a smoker voice
Oh, man.
character. It doesn't matter. Any movie, any TV show,
Yeah, it
always
was
funny.
my grandma was a character. We talked about this in the book. Like she loved you. You didn't know it or feel it, and you didn't really want to feel it. Like I've talked about this with my dad. That was her mom. Like her hugs felt awful.
His mom.
His
Yeah,
mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad's hugs are great. My mom's hugs are great. The hugs are great. The hugs from my grandma were awful. The hugs from the other side of the family, grandma and grandpa were fantastic. But Grandma Isla's hugs were, it felt like I was back in the Great Depression. It just put me in my own Great Depression. Like these feel like the arms of a child who worked at a factory. You know?
It's just not a lot of warmth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But
These are second generation, early 1900 hugs is what they are.
Yeah. I only knew her in her later years, so it's mostly just like...
Not exactly her prime.
Yeah, exactly. It's mostly just like puzzles and...
Yahtzee.
Yelling.
Yahtzee. The deuces are elusives.
Yeah, I did play some
Fours, they add up. Those fours, they add up.
I did play some Yahtzee with your grandma.
Yeah. She did not like when you beat her in Yahtzee.
Yeah, she would like shut down.
She would not handle... She would get so mad when you beat her in Yahtzee. And then...
She'd retreat to her room.
When she got... This is another family story. When the digital Yahtzee came out, this is like pre-cell phone era.
It's just like that teeny little...
Yeah,
like you could get it at the gas station or like or a Kmart or something.
Yeah, it was just Yahtzee, right? and she would play it. I mean, probably not an exaggeration, 50 games a day, just like Yahtzee. Yeah.
Is it a solo game, or are you playing against someone
No,
else?
it's a little handheld thing.
I don't.
Yeah.
No, I know it's like not connected to the internet, but like.
No,
does
you're not
somebody
passing
else
it around.
roll?
No, you're just playing a solo round.
Okay, a solo round.
Yeah.
Which you can do.
Trying to get a high score.
Got it.
She played 50 times a day.
So yeah, you got to pick where you put things.
Jess rolls into the lake house. My sister Jess rolls into the lake house one night. Rolls like 9 Yahtzees, breaks the high score. Isla was furious. Who's this punk kid that came down from the city? And like
It's my game.
Sat down in my recliner in my lake home. Beat my game. I mean, I don't think she talked to Jess the rest of the week. She was legit angry. It was not like a cold shoulder. It was like a direct anger. People forget how easily entertained you used to be back in the day. Like, I mean, that held me over. It's what you would do when there was like a lot of bathrooms had them in my house, the Yahtzee,
Gross.
Mel,
Yeah, okay.
no, your family is the weird one. Like I've said, we haven't talked about your
Dude,
family.
I just meant like
No, your
that's
family
a
didn't.
gross gaming device.
No,
That
your
was my
family.
joke.
Your family didn't have magazine. Your family didn't have anything in bathrooms.
That's right.
And that was different.
Yeah.
Back in the day, people had stuff in their bathrooms.
Yeah, they had like books on the toilet.
Yeah, your family was the abnormal one in that regard.
Yeah. Okay.
Your family's just so efficient.
We're just like in and out.
Yeah, most people are like, this is a moment to pick up a Reader's Digest.
Daily bread. I remember I had friends whose
Oh, you
families
had friends who
had
had devotionals in
daily
the bathroom.
breads in the bathroom.
You're just
Yes.
in there. You're like, I wish I was daily. Whew. Too much daily bread is what got me here in the first place. Speaking of loaves. Sorry, do you want me to keep doing this bit or no? A devotional in the bathroom is a very
It's
funny thing. Yeah. Oh, is that my utmost for his highest? Remember that one? That was
Yeah.
the one. Oswald Chambers.
Yeah. So my friend is visiting her grandparents with her kids, and her grandparents are still alive. And big flex. And they were playing croquet.
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I used to play croquet at my grandparents' house."
Yeah.
And like that's a thing that generation owned
Yeah.
and maintained and
Yeah.
kept, and
You were just you
like
would
they're like, okay, we got one lawn game. It's croquet.
It's croquet, yeah. It's
We had lawn darts as
lawn
well.
darts, yeah.
Which is
Well, that's-
real dangerous.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's one of the differences.
How was that?
That's one of the differences between modern yard games, backyard games. I think is what they're officially called. Is ours have really gone down on danger. Those other ones used to be legit. I mean,
we send the kids out with the croquet set. And
yeah.
There's mallets.
Yeah.
And then like those heavy.
I mean, so in the book of The Shining, not the movie, the book,
Okay.
his weapon is a croquet mallet, not an axe. It's a croquet mallet.
Whew.
And that's a legit the ball itself, a bocce ball. That thing is a horseshoe. You ever take a horseshoe to the shin? I have, because my family got a little drinky with those shoes. That's why I usually would win the tournament, because I was the last one sober by the end of the day. I've seen a dog get hit by a horseshoe. It's not a good sight. That usually is kind of the dog's. I mean, it's not the dog's fault, but a dog doesn't know a horseshoe's coming. Oh gosh.
And then they have those spikes that you have to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every part of the croquet set is dangerous. Every part. The whole thing is dangerous. The lawn darts were the most dangerous, and
we didn't have those.
yeah, they were. I don't think you can get them anymore. I mean,
I think they banned them at some point. Like, I don't know if the company just bankrupt and whatever, but I mean, I was a kid thinking it was banned at some point.
They were fun for a little
where,
while.
Like,
yeah,
Nerf
They
got
would
their
be fun
idea.
now.
it would be fun now. Run. Yeah, I mean, lawn darts, croquet, horseshoes were dangerous.
So
bocce balls.
Bocce balls are just the croquet balls.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
essentially
still
They're a little heavier, a little bigger, a little
in
heavier.
rotation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're not the bocce ball. You're not. I mean, you are throwing that thing, but you would have to.
It's more of a roll.
It depends. Depends where that little white ball is that you're trying to hit.
Yeah.
Bocce's fun. I like bocce. Bocce is to me, but now it's can jam and bago and whatever. I mean, darts were dangerous as a bar game, but
yeah. But people had dartboards in their homes.
you don't see a dartboard like you used to.
Yeah.
I mean, my whole downstairs was a bar. So we had one growing up. My dad and when we had a hot tub and a bar in our downstairs. You never saw that era of our home.
I was gonna say some people had a playroom. We
did have a bar. We had a bar downstairs.
You had
There
a
was a
basement
moment
bar.
where my dad had the hot tub inside too, and which of course did not last. You can't have an indoor hot tub in a home.
It seems like a lot of work to move.
Yeah, I have no idea how it happened.
You got to drain it.
I have I couldn't tell you how. I mean, it had to have been built and unbuilt. You can't.
Yeah.
It's not gonna fit out a
Your
door.
dad's handy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we had a bar, and my dad had like the neon bar signs and stuff. Which is funny because we didn't have like a particularly nice house and a lot of money. It just all went into that.
Did you have a pool table?
No, we didn't. We had
Okay.
darts. We had darts.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking of the things.
Yeah. Yeah.
A pool table would fit.
That era was short. Like the bar area did stay around for a long time. And now as an adult, I'm like, oh, that'd be fun to have. Andy's like, this sounds amazing. But there were later, because later, when my folks split, my uncle moved in down there.
Yeah.
And then there was like a little area, and there was another, and like Joey, my future brother-in-law, lived down there for a while. There was a rotation of characters.
Yeah.
It became much more. I do remember. The most I ever remember it being committed to a kids area is one year my dad got me one of those giant like car race tracks. There was like a volcano one, and he like set that up on a table, and we would race it and stuff.
I'm forgetting what that's called.
What
There's
were
a
those
name.
called?
The red track. Yeah.
Little like RC track. Or
Was it the kind that were
Yeah.
electric that you could do with your hands? I don't know what the
Electric,
names
yeah.
of those.
Yeah.
There's like electric car track.
Yeah.
But then they came out with Matchbox that was not electric, obviously.
Yeah.
Right,
Or
right,
the
right,
trains,
right.
those
Right,
weren't.
The electric ones were fun though.
Yeah, those were
Yeah. But it wasn't. You realize pretty on it, like
a lot of tracks.
it's not exactly a
keep track
race.
of.
The same lane wins every time.
Right, but it always smells like burning.
Yeah. Good.
That's a nostalgic smell.
An element of danger.
Exactly.
Back, like, this might burn your house down.
Oh, it sparks. Cool.
Well, but then trampolines got popular.
I don't know how they're still legal. I mean, we got through our trampoline years in our house. No one got hurt, but they reached an age where they were flipping off the shed over the net. And we're like, and then they came home one day and the trampoline was gone. Yeah, and they're like, where'd the trampoline go?
They were sending us photos.
While we were like,
we
gone.
were flying home. We were like, this is the last day of the trampoline. We'll be here.
Why'd you get rid of it? Yeah, the thing about trampolines is that the trampoline gets an increasingly worse shape as the child gets braver and bigger. So
we went through a couple trampoline pads, or the nets.
Yeah.
Not the nets. Well, yes, the nets. Yes, the pads. But the bed of the trampoline. Gloria went on there in soccer cleats.
Yeah.
That ruined.
Ready for full circle? You know what the last moment of our was? Lawn darts. I was throwing lawn darts up in the back, and they kept hitting the trampoline, so the holes kept getting bigger. And then me and my friend Will, we also we took the wheels off of like a little bike, like his little sister's bike. And we would do like bike tricks on it. Like we'd be doing like what was it, whip tail? What was it called when you would
tail spins?
Tail spins or whatever. Yeah. I don't think is that right? Yeah, tail whips. No,
tail whips.
Yeah.
On the trampoline.
On the trampoline, because you could jump high and you could. I mean, none of us knew how to do it. So you could do the bike thing and land on it. We're just jumping, and of course that put holes in the trampoline. Now the things that a 10 to 14-year-old boy. I mean, me and my friends had whole parties where we would just be wrestling characters on the trampoline.
Yeah.
And my move was the flying elbow off the top rope, which was my swing set. So my friend would be lying down there, and I would jump from the top of the swing set and drop an elbow on his chest.
My brother got like 5 sets of stitches.
Yeah. From the trampoline.
No,
or just
like
in life.
As a boy.
Yeah, it's just kind of, there's just, there's a certain personality of certain kids that you're like, hey, stitches are going to be part of your life. Our son's very cautious.
There's a lot of tree climbing.
Yeah.
And
Joel does a lot of that stuff, but he like knows his limits.
We went to that infamous Padres game.
Yes.
And we took we had 4 tickets.
Oh, yeah, 4 tickets to a Padres game. We had a fan. This was the first riddle was your family of 5. A fan very graciously offered us 4 tickets to when the Mariners were in town.
Yeah. So we have 4 tickets.
So we're like, how do we distribute these tickets? Who wants to go? Who doesn't want to go? Which kid is going to go? Who's going to stay at home?
And the initial was like our 14-year-old daughter
hates baseball.
She does not
games.
like baseball at all. She's very vocal. I don't want to go. So we're like, great. So that's 4.
So we'll take Claire.
We have 4 tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
And Joel.
And then I think our younger daughter was like, well, if she's not going, I don't want to go.
I also hate baseball.
So then we had 3.
Yeah.
The 3 of us.
Which actually worked out nicely because now Joel can bring a friend, which is kind of ideal. Because that's what the teen always wants anyways is, can I bring a friend? Can I bring a friend? Can I bring a friend?
But then our 14-year-old daughter was like, well, I could go with 3 friends.
Yeah.
And we were like, no, you can't. You don't like baseball.
And you're like, where did 3 friends come from, by the way?
Suddenly she wants all 4 tickets.
So it's, yeah, you're right. You just the 14-year-old girls just go walk around the Padres
And then
game.
Our son was like, well, I could bring 3 friends.
Like, you didn't get all these followers to get free tickets.
So
I did.
So we went with our son and his friend.
Longtime friend. Yeah.
Yes.
We're driving through downtown.
And our son is telling us all the stupid things he's done at every nook and cranny of downtown. All the terrifyingly scary things. And so we get to the park, and I'm like
an anxious mess. Yeah. Because he's like, yeah, I remember when we went in here and we like swam in that pool. And you're like, whose pool? What? How'd you end up in a pool
hotel,
downtown?
That rooftop.
Oh, you had a friend, had an uncle.
That like not Pioneer Square, gas lamp.
Yeah.
We're skateboarding in gas lamp at night. It's like the party area. You're just like, I'm terrified.
Yeah.
I am not chill. I don't want to sit and watch a Padres game now. I'm all worked up.
Yeah.
And upset.
He goes out the door. Whenever we have little adages when we tell before games and sports in general in school, we're like attitude and effort. That's all that matters. A&E, attitude and effort. Now, whenever Joel leaves the house, I go, be safe, be smart. Just be safe, because I don't know he's gonna do these things. Like, because you're just like I couldn't make a list of rules of things not to do because you're just gonna find it.
When you're in a 20-foot ditch, don't balance on the edge.
He's also like sneaking up on 18. It's like, is anything he's doing more dangerous than potentially signing up for the military? Like it's so there is an element of like, gosh, you just at this age with friends, it's part of the reason that I look forward to high school being over is because those are these kind of wandering years where you don't have as much to do. So you're looking to kind of kill this time and kill the hours.
He's like, we're snorkeling on this reef.
Well, there's the element of living near a beach too, which you're just like, oh gosh.
He's like, we took out not snorkels, but we took out all the goggles and like made it to a riptide, and and you're like, what?
Yeah. He's like, no, I got caught in the riptide, but we know how to handle that. And I was like, oh my god.
I just hit one rock. Yeah, and
it's like just mild bleeding.
And there's not a lifeguard at this beach we go to.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, anyways, then
I'm anxious now.
Exactly. Then you show up at a Padres game, and you're like, "What's going on with me?"
Yeah. That real story is how to ruin a Padres game. Is tell me every scary thing that you have done. And
I'm so glad you're still alive.
What was so funny because we were looking at that game forward to that game so much and
for so long. Yeah.
And we I didn't have the same anxiety. I was a little stressed, but I was like, once he brought a friend, I was like, I'm just going to a baseball game with Mel. I never go to a baseball game with just Mel, but this is like a date. We're gonna have a beer.
You can order from
where this area, these people give us some bougie
out.
tickets. So we were in the like mobile order area, which is nice, and there was like a barbecue place I wanted to try because the food at Petco is so good.
It's so good.
Yeah. Puesto's there. Oh, yeah, it's very good. And
if anything, there's too many options.
There is a reality to that. You're like, oh my gosh.
Every year I go back, it's nicer.
Yep.
They've like
better beer options, fancier, more food. Yeah.
New like food and drink options.
There's an omelet bar. I'm just kidding.
They got an omelet bar? The roast beef cutting station.
Padres are good enough that they don't have to have the roast beef section yet. But if they start winning 60 games a year, food's gonna get even better. That's where it comes from, is the Padres are a historically bad franchise. So they're like, hey, man, we got to put some good food in here. We're going to build this thing with a view of the ocean, around a bunch of iconic buildings.
So nice.
It's very, very nice. Mm-hmm. It is. There is so much of that, like, just like letting go, like you said, of just like, oh, my gosh. Don't tell me. He did it last night. He told me
I have to sleep at night.
I have to get up at 4 to take you to cross country tomorrow. He told me one of them last night. It was a smaller one. So they're doing this thing. It's called like senior.
Don't tell that.
Huh? Why?
What he was doing last night? Oh, you can talk about Senior Assassin.
Yeah. What's wrong with this? I'll tell me why you don't want me to tell me after. I don't see any harm in it. But so they do this thing. It's called like Senior Assassin, where they get water guns and you get like a sign. The basic idea is you're in a group. The amount of you want to survive before getting shot by this water gun.
And you have to video it.
And you have to videotape them, so you have people.
Life 360.
They can track each other's locations. Life 360. So sometimes people are waiting outside your house waiting for you, but you can wear a floaty, and then you're like immune. But some days you can't wear them. Mm-hmm. So they go out like hunting for each other and stuff like that, and it's fun. And it's like they catch them. It's a fun idea, It's and it's not school affiliated. Naturally, they weren't crazy about that name, and so it's fun, and they were doing it. So he got in the van with a bunch of his friends last night, and they couldn't get anyone. I was like, oh, would you, He's like, yeah, we couldn't go in. So we just went and we just squirted college students. And I was like, you did what? You shot a stranger with a water gun? You idiot! What are you doing? But I guess, is that what you didn't want me to say? The college student?
Well,
thing?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? I would be so curious why you didn't want to share that. You're anxious right now. Your foot's twitching.
Anxious.
Guys, we should have gotten to this earlier. We have business to get to. This has been just a natural conversation. It's really been kind of flowing naturally, It's been good. But lots of guys, we got upcoming dates. Today is Wednesday, August 28th, and I'm at LOL Comedy Club. No, yesterday. Thanks, San Antonio. You were fantastic last night. Today I'm in Houston at the Improv. Get tickets. That's almost sold out. Huge room. And then this weekend I'm in Dallas. September, we're in Tacoma, Milwaukee, Boston. October, Appleton, Austin, Louisville, Salt Lake City. November, Oxnard, Bakersfield, Springfield, Raleigh, the Nuga. And then December, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Spokane, Phoenix. And then in the new year, Indy. And then we got 2 new ones on sale, Denver, St. Louis, and Toronto. The new ones on sale are Denver and Toronto. I'm very excited to go to both of those places. Everybody, at this point, my Colorado rant went super viral. Like up there
You're going to have a bunch of mad
Well, what's interesting is I want to talk about that.
Or maybe they're on your side.
Some of them are. The ones with senses of humor are. But my favorite thing is, did I tell you about this? Like, so many people are like, Denver is actually a great airport. Who defends their airport? Did we talk about this?
No,
we did last, either on Patreon.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No,
who defends their airport, but
defend SeaTac too, like our old haunts.
You tell me, name an airport. I'll give you a grade. I know the best and I know the worst. Name one. I'll give you a grade right away. Heathrow in London. I've only flown out once. I've only flown out once, and you and I could not have had a posher experience because we were flying with Tay, and it was just every short line, like new lines that I didn't know existed. So,
LaGuardia.
New LaGuardia is an A airport. It's nice. It's easy to get to. It's good.
Here's one that we talked about on Patreon, the Zoom hang, Salt Lake.
Salt Lake is a B- airport. It's nice. There's a lot to eat in there. The new design, the terminals, the A and B, they're so far away and you can only walk. Yeah. It's also just a crazy busy airport. So it's nice and it runs fairly well and on time. And it's fairly close to the city. And the lines move okay, but that hey, I landed in A1, I fly out of B82. It's a walk the whole way. As a matter of fact, it's such a walk that while you're making the walk, they put up a sign like, good thing you're getting your steps in, which I'm like, screw you. I don't, what?
You're like, engineers can,
you guys
design this.
Yeah. And you're just sprinting. You're just flipping off that sign. You're like, this is not how I wanted to get my cardio. So, anyways, DIA is a terrible airport. Anyway, it doesn't. But Colorado is a wonderful state. That's the whole point of that bit, is how wonderful Colorado is.
Yeah. Despite
the fact that it's an inconvenience. It's hard to get to. Yeah. It's in a time zone very few people use. But comedy's not for everybody, and stand-up is certainly this is a Tammy Pescatelli quote. Comedy is for everybody. Stand-up is not for everybody. Somebody commented on it yesterday because that thing is and just said dude, this guy bombed so hard, not funny. I was like, you can hear the laughs and claps. You can say what you want about this. You could say, I don't think this is funny, or this isn't funny, or he's wrong. You can't say I bombed. There is factual evidence.
You told me someone on YouTube was like, this guy needs to tighten this up.
That's funny. Somebody said on one of my clips where I was just did a bunch of crowd work. He's 3 minutes before you get to first bit, tighten it up. And I was like, I don't know. That's how I start every show. That's as I've become very a more confident in my abilities. I like to just be in the room with them for the first couple of minutes and acknowledge what I see and talk about where I am. And if something fun happens, cool. But I'm not worried because I'm hey, I got this smoking new hour ready. I got the Calvary's ready.
I'll start when I want.
I'll start when I want. I'll start when I want. I'll tell me to tighten up. But I think about this a lot. Jimmy Carr said it. He goes, if you watch a comedian, you think that's the funniest thing I've ever seen, you're right. And if you think that isn't funny at all, you're also right.
Yes.
You're just right. You're just right about that.
Yeah, you're allowed to choose.
Anyways.
Can I just throw in
real quick, I've also never been to Toronto. And that's my first time ever going to Toronto. So I'm so excited to go to Toronto. And I will be there. Actually, I don't know. I can't say that. Never mind.
All right. So September 8th.
Sunday,
September 8th at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
We got a Patreon Zoom.
My mom will be in town.
No, you guys get it Monday.
Oh, I'm going to do it from Tacoma.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm going to do it from Tacoma.
Yeah.
That hotel we like. Yeah, in Tacoma, which will be great. And Mel will be stressed because Mel will be making the list because 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today.
Yeah.
Grandma Lori comes in and
we'll
watches
be on an
the
airplane.
kiddos.
2 weeks. Yep. I told the kids, I was like, so homecoming's in 3 weekends.
This is so funny.
So that means we have 2 weekends to get your clothes, your outfits, and it's next month.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So our son was like, well, that's like a month away. And I was like, no, we have 2 weekends.
Yeah.
Because we are flying back early to see them off to homecoming.
Yeah.
That Saturday. But he can drive, he can get his stuff, but our daughter can't.
Yeah.
So they have to have
it's like a month away.
Prepped.
I just said 2 weekends.
So 3 weekends.
3 weekends.
Get 2 weekends to get stuff.
3 weekends. This is like a month. That's a very teenage boy thing to say.
Rounding up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to say thank you to everyone that came out to my last 3 weekends or 3 cities of shows. SF, SAC, and then Omaha the weekend before. I don't think we talked much about that. When you're in like downtown San Francisco, yes, there are very rough areas. The Tenderloin, parts of Market are rough. The majority of the city is, the word I describe for SF is like, especially when it's nice out, is like whimsical. It's like a fantasy. It's so nice. It's so pretty. It's so iconic and beautiful. When you're down at the water and you're looking at the 2 bridges, you know, you've got the Bay Bridge and you got Golden Gate, and there's just the smells, and it's the Bay. It's unbelievable. And you're looking at Alcatraz, and the fog comes in. It's magical. It's so pretty. I can't
all the
get.
Trees
and
the blue water. Yeah.
I'm playing the SF Punchline, which is like one of the most legendary clubs of all time, and it's alive because Chappelle kept it alive when Google bought the building and tried to kind of run them out, and Chappelle like did a bunch of like petitioning and appearances, so they got like the historic business site or whatever, and it's great, and it's just a tiny little, it's not tiny, it's 180, which is smaller but not tiny, and I sold out my first show there. We did 5, and it was like, it was just great, and I just was like, and then I went and did the SAC Punchline, which Sacramento is like probably a top 5 favorite comedy city for me. I'm just talking the people, like I love the people of Sacramento. Because I've told you my favorite kind of comedy is just like my favorite crowds are like middle of the road beliefs. So a mixed bag. Like I find my favorite comedy cities are like a blue dot in a red state or a red dot in a blue state. Like
a little more
a little less groupthink.
Yeah.
Like my favorite cities in California to do comedy in. I love them all. And anymore I have crowds, so they're my kind of people who come out, which is great. But just historically, it's like my favorites in, like, just say California, it's like SD, Orange County, and Sacramento, which don't really have a strong political leaning one way or the other. They're pretty, I mean, you can go to Huntington and get pretty red. Yeah. But it's still SoCal. And same with Sacramento. It's a government town. And so it's the same with, it's why people like Austin so much for comedy. You're like, blue dot, red state, or a city like Dallas where they're just like sometimes just bigger cities. I mean, there's a lot of great. Raleigh's fantastic. Asheville is a blue dot in the middle of a red state. They just tend to like not be upset if they don't sense some crowds. Little comedy corner here. Dustin's Comedy Corner. Sometimes I feel like crowds in certain areas they're trying to figure out where they relate to you and do you agree with them? And like that's not what you really want as a stand-up. And so like you're not pandering, but they're kind of trying to figure out, are you like one of us, I guess?
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't want to do this. I am one of you, and then I'm a human existing in this world.
Yeah.
Can that just be enough? Can we just be humans? Are we human or are we dancer? Is what I have always wondered. Are we dancer?
The first time that song came out, you're like, huh.
Brandon, that was the lyric you stuck with?
Are we human?
Like you're like, you're going to stay with that? That wasn't
and everyone's like, ba-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Like, is there something else we could?
Yeah. That's like that Pink, what was that band that had they did the duet? She did the duet with the guy from.
His other band was Fun.
Fun, yeah.
No,
yeah,
it is Fun.
Yeah.
Yes, Fun.
I remember when that first came out, and I was like, is this the finished version?
Just give me a reason, right?
It's a good song.
Learn to love again.
But I was just like, it just feels like needs another a week or two in the studio.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel full.
It feels a little loose.
They're like, well, you do a run, and then I'll do a run, and then
Tighten it up.
Tighten it up.
See, I'm the guy. I'm the guy in the comments. Everyone's so full of it. Oh man. Anyways, come to the shows. Sign up for the Patreon. Oh,
really
you guys
just
need to
like
give some reviews.
A life hack is like tighten it up.
Tighten it up. Tighten it up. Don't forget to give some reviews, everybody in here. Particularly in Apple, Spotify, go in. And if you don't want to leave a comment, just say Melissa made me do it. That's a classic here.
Or Mel says it doesn't have to be funny.
Mel says it doesn't have to be funny. That's the other thing. Mel says it doesn't have to be funny. Just hit 5 stars.
Just say yay.
Mel says it doesn't have to be funny. That helps us. Thank you. Also, Omaha. Omaha was wonderful. Omaha's a great comedy city. That's a great club. Colleen, who runs the club there, her son actually is the guy that created Liquid Death. Yeah, yeah, which is awesome.
Well, good for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's helpful.
Just want my kids to be successful.
Yeah. And he's just, he created Liquid Death, which is fantastic. That's why they were so big in that's the comedy connection. Liquid Death was making stuff in Theo's videos and Bert's videos, like everywhere. You're like, it's kind of how I first heard of them. What is this Liquid Death? And so, that's always been comedy connection. So, Omaha's great. I went to Bad Seed Coffee a bunch there. Really good. Really good. Your favorite kind of favorite kind of coffee shop where you first have to walk through a plant store, which I know you love. I know you love.
Coffee and plants.
Also, I polled our Facebook group about this on whether or not you wanted me to talk about how I ended up hanging out with Elyse Myers.
Yeah.
And because my poll was like, do you care? Is this a little too name droppy? Because I don't want to be name droppy, especially after last week when we're on stage at Head and Heart at Red Rocks, as you do. If you want to know who we really are, it's that, and also Mel's rant earlier on the behind the scenes about, no, I'm not free Saturday. If you want to know when these things happen, by the way, it was a Tuesday in Denver.
Well, you were texting me because you're in Elyse Myers' driveway.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just woken up because I'm a couple hours behind, and I was like, the cat threw up on Claire.
This is why sometimes we don't talk a lot on the road. Or you hate when I call when I'm with a friend. Yeah. I'll be in the car with Steve Rogers, and we'll be we're just driving, and we're kind of laughing. And you're like, oh, it sounds like you're just driving with a friend.
Got a couple inside jokes.
Yeah. I'm doing bits. You're like, could you not? I would love for you to not. Anyways, so
hi, Steven.
The Myers connection originally happened via the old Instagrams, because you never know who's watching on there. That's like one day I turn on my phone and Joe Rogan followed me and shared one of my things. I was like, the internet's wild because we're just all on here. You know how Taylor started opening for Brian Regan. Brian Regan hopped on YouTube one night, and oh my gosh, who was this child? Who's the funniest comic I've ever seen. Just everyone's on the internet. You never know who's watching what. Yeah, that was like that Broadway. A bunch of the Broadway people like shared the theater kid stuff. And which is awesome.
Kristen Chenoweth.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Somebody made a shirt. The theater. It's a good weird. It's great. But anyways, I don't remember the exact order. I think her and then Jonas, her husband, followed me and we DM'd like a little bit, but it wasn't anything crazy. And maybe they shared a clip or something like that.
They've been super busy.
Yeah, and then I get like a message. I think I invited him to my Omaha show last time and didn't work out because they're busy with young kids. And then I get a message from them that they're at Nate's show when I'm in Omaha, which makes sense. And we're like trying to I was like, oh, let's say hi or something. And I was like, I don't know. We tried, but I actually kind of found them pre-show. And I like waved to them as I was leaving stage and stuff, which is fun. So we connected there and then we messaged and I was like, let's hang out when I'm back. And so she came to the show with a friend, and was like, in like the second row, which was funny because I was like, that's Elyse Myers. If you don't know Elyse Myers, is pretty big internet personality. Like a lot of followers, pretty internet famous, and which is anymore is just famous.
Yes. She's famous and they live in Omaha.
Yeah. And then it just is so funny because it ended up being, I was like, well, let's like hang out or something. And they're like, we were gonna have you over for lunch, which is the most. And I like little parents of young kids thing. And I was like, of course, you can't go into coffee. You can't. And it's too hot in Omaha to just like go meet you at a park or anything like that. Yeah. They have young kids and you can't go places. You can't go to a restaurant. If so, it makes the hang 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's going to be short. It's, Saturdays start early.
Yeah.
And there's lots of naps.
And I'll tell you, I'm the best person you can invite over to your house for that because they were like, sorry, kid's loud. And I was like, I don't even hear that kid. I don't hear. Not only, same thing, I went over to Arthur's house. I immediately start talking to the 4-year-old. Like the 4-year-old wants to play. I was like, I want to play. Yeah. She's like, his 4-year-old daughter, they were talking and she's like, oh, I'm a veterinarian and this unicorn is sick. And I was like, okay, so I love doing this. So are you a normal veterinarian or like special kind of veterinarian? How do you treat a sick unicorn? Yeah. And what's funny is like kids will go with you and they'll keep playing until they don't want to. They're like, I'm a normal vet. They get back to work.
They're like, I'm so busy. Leave me alone.
Yeah. But my favorite thing is it was just so funny because we did what you did when you hang out with a toddler is that you just move from room to room to room to room to because we're out of that stage where you really have to like just keep an eye on that kid. Where are we going? Yeah. Like this room, 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 and we just kind of we're like there was one point where literally just like the kid's like, can we run? So we were just like running in circles and like talking. They're like, internet comments are tough, and how you doing? It's really tough out here. Well, no, so tell me about your background. How'd you guys meet? And then as we're running, the kid's like, could you guys stop talking? Which is a very kid thing to do.
Yeah.
It's very fun. Very nice people. It just at the end, it's like, even though Elyse is way bigger than me on the internet, that is a connection. And then when you have young kids, and I just, I remember, when you have young kids, it's like us with the Mackies back in the day. When you have young kids and then you hang out with people that have older kids, it's just kind of a relief that they're not stressed out by your young kids.
Yeah, and if you go over to someone's house that has kids a little bit older than your kids, they just have like all these toys that your kids have never seen before. Yeah. And that's like gold.
Yeah.
Right?
This is why when I'm on planes, I'm pretty impatient with an annoying adult But if I see a parent, like I'm not going to be mean to that adult or anything, but if I see like a parent with the kids, I smile at the parent and I start smiling at the kid and I wave at them. I'm like, just, hey, man, I'm a safe place. Still don't take this middle seat next to me, please. Oh, we didn't talk about, go ahead.
I have said this to you before, like I've almost, Joel's 17 and a half. And you're like, I have all this knowledge, but nobody wants it. Like about raising a child.
Yeah.
In the sense that like you have to figure it out on your own.
Mm-hmm.
You're
right.
And so I just find it very it's like you by the time you're like have raised one 18-year-old, you're like, I did it. And and then everyone's like, yeah, great. Okay. We'll move on.
Yeah.
Move on to the next stage.
You're just not really at a spot. You know what it is? It's like when you have young kids, you're not really at a spot to receive advice.
No.
Because you're just everything's so tired and so loud. It's like someone giving you a swimming lesson when you're in a tornado. You're like, I might need that later, but I'm in a tornado right now.
It's just different.
Yeah.
And circumstances have changed. And
well, it's what I say in my act right now is, if you have younger kids, I have older kids, you have harder days, I have harder problems. And like the actual day-to-day, it is stressful at night waiting for them. What are they going to do?
Yeah.
But just the day-to-day of running around and trying to keep a thing alive.
Yeah,
and making
are
sure
they,
it doesn't.
Tired or hungry? Or, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, the amount of things, it's jaw-dropping the amount of things that a child will try and flush down a toilet.
Yeah, and it's like decisions every minute that that have to be made.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's different, but it's also like you can get a babysitter and a pizza and leave them.
Well, yeah, who,
and that you can't do that with teenagers. You can be like, well, make them stay home or make him drive his sister. And you're like,
it's not that easy.
It's not that easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then there's random friends over and tell them they can't
well,
have
not
friends
if you're a parent that is.
Once again, it's not that easy.
No, it is. It is if you're a different type of parent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is. Yeah.
If you're not an anxious one. If it truly, like, because like we were at an age now when we come from a generation that once you started driving, your parents were done parenting.
In a lot of ways, yeah.
In a lot of ways. In what way were they not?
I got you here, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
You're a fully functioning adult.
Yeah.
No,
You're right.
It's a different thing.
Like you didn't have a curfew.
Right?
No,
not that I know of.
And you didn't really have like a dinner time.
I don't remember. I don't remember a lot of interaction with my dad really in my mid to late teen years. I was also I happened to be a very independent child. Me and my sister both were. And,
and you were also like the last one in the house, which.
Yeah, I also got my license a month into my sophomore year of high school. So like I was driving all through high school.
And you were going to community college.
My junior and senior year.
And you were
different.
working a job. Yes. No. I totally agree with you. Anyway.
There are parents here there are people listening to this that go like, oh, great, just have your kid and it doesn't bother them. You do have you're more of a worrier.
Well,
and
also,
I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, you are or you aren't a worrier, you know?
Sure, but also when I already have my spouse out of the state.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's baseline.
Yeah.
It's not like you're at work downtown.
Mm-hmm. That's why when I'm home, your favorite thing to do is just go to bed. Because you're like, oh, he can stay up and worry about this.
Well, that's where I'm starting at.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not only is I'm the only one that can physically be here.
Right.
I don't know. We had a hurricane a year ago.
Yeah.
And I was texting all my mom friends.
Hurricane.
We had a flash flood and
it was, yeah.
And we get those. And I was you were delayed on flights and stuff. You were stuck at the airport.
You remember where I was out of the country.
Okay, so there's been a couple.
Yeah.
But this, yes, I think you were. I think you're out of the country.
I was in Canada. Yeah, I was trying to fly home from Canada.
So you're in Canada, and there's this like warning, and I'm texting my mom friends, and they're like, I'm not worried about it. And I'm like, I'm picking up all 3 of my kids.
Yeah.
From their 3 schools. I don't care.
And trying to get Dustin back from out of the country.
And I was like, my son's been driving like 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
He's not driving home. I'm picking him up.
Right.
And everyone was kind of like, you're freaking out. And I was like, this is the one thing I can control, is I can tell my kids they're coming home.
Right.
And I was like, and now they're home.
Yeah.
And my husband's still gone. And the weather will do whatever it's going to do. But my 3 kids are in my house.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm sorry.
I can control this. Yeah.
I can't walk to their schools
Yeah.
when, because the driveway floods.
Yeah.
I can't.
Mm-mm.
So.
Well, we do get flooding in our area too. It does happen.
Yeah.
I remember a couple times at the rec center.
I can go now, or I can like stay at home and like watch it happen all afternoon.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm gonna go now. I'm like, sorry, we all have
respect
appointments. We all have appointments. I'm picking them all up.
Yeah. And the kid's not like the kid's mind.
If you remember, Claire was in the office watching like the fire department show up at her school. She wasn't in class learning anything.
No. Yeah, I mean, if you have the chance to worry at home with your mom or worry at the office, come home and worry together.
I don't know. I guess I'm justifying why I get stressed out on the weekends.
I think that parenting is stressful.
It is.
And people don't realize that a lot of parents. I don't know. It's I was thinking about this, like, when you're a parent, your stress starts every morning at drop-off. Like, your day starts stressful. Your day starts... like, it's a loud wake-up. It's not like an alarm, and you got to go sit in traffic. It's like 4 alarms for 4 different times and 4 to 5 people trying to use bathrooms and getting them ready
and all their stuff
and one didn't sleep and the cat puked and the cat happened to puke on the one that did sleep, so you're cleaning up puke as you're shaking that particular kid that doesn't know it has puke on it. And then you get in the cars and then you go get in these drop-off lines, which are the most chaotic. School drop-off lines are the most chaotic type of traffic imaginable. It's like if you took the 805 and you threw it into like a Costco parking lot that also had a Trader Joe's and an IKEA, and then you had a bunch of children running around.
And then
it's
you
chaos.
add in like new drivers.
Yeah, and then there's a bunch of 16-year-olds who
don't
know
like, about
or like lean back
4-way stops,
and if they're driving like this. Looking on their phone.
And then there's the moms in the Suburbans who are going to run everyone over.
Well,
they're just barreling through these school parking
they're
lots.
like, my car is big, so I'm important.
Don't forget the e-bikes.
The e-bikes, well, there's always some parent who's like, I'm going to save a little bit of energy and get a little workout in, and I'm going to bike my kid into school. And you're like, please don't.
We've got some golf carts, too.
Please don't. Please don't bike your kid into school. I mean, maybe if it's just not here, if there's no bike lane, there's no bike lane.
There's no bike lane, and then there's a couple of intersections that just every moment a child is so close to being hit. Yeah. Because they don't know if they can go, and there's not an attendant. Yeah. And everyone's late. Yeah. And racing, and it's just,
Yeah. Meanwhile, your kid's playing Frogger, just trying to get to kindergarten. You know?
We don't have schools that were built like
it's not. This
for
is not
carpool lanes.
No, this is not an us problem. This is an everywhere problem.
No, I know, but someone's gonna go like, don't you have a school that was built in the 90s that has a clear drop-off lane? No, we don't.
Nobody does. No, I don't think people will even comment that. Because I don't think it was ever anticipated that this many people would drive their kids to school. Yeah. Because the idea of the school was that you could walk to the school. So when we had elementary school, we would just walk to the school.
Yeah, but and we don't live in like a bus city. Yeah.
No, people
like school bus.
Well, we live in a car-centric world now.
We live in a car-centric world.
It is. It's not pedestrian-centric.
Yeah.
So.
But I grew up with school buses. Well, and we don't have those.
No, we do. No. We do. All of our kids' schools have buses.
One bus.
However, people don't understand this. People are like, put your kid on the bus. Buses don't run everywhere. Buses do not run everywhere. Not every school has buses, and you don't necessarily live in a place.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily live in a place where the bus is, you're able to get to the bus.
Yeah.
Bus is not an option for everybody. It truly, the new driver who's kicking his kid out, the dad, there's always a dad who's super late. Yeah. And so he's just like, because it's his week and he forgot it was his week. Yes, I made the dad divorced in this scenario. There's always...
Okay.
Yeah, and, he's just got, it's like he's super late. He's coming in. He's speeding.
The illegal parking.
The illegal parking. The amount of dads who will park in a handicap spot because they're running late.
It is,
and you look at their poor 6-year-old girl's hair, and you're like, oh no, drop her by the office. Someone run a comb through that.
There is a kid who's been crossing like a fast 2-way street, and it's scary. The parent, there's a red light, and the parent's like, get out.
Yeah.
And that kid is running across the
street.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. These kids are playing Frogger just to get to kindergarten.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
There's no, I know that freeway traffic is bad.
Yeah.
And it's tough, and we've all sat on it. This is worse. Just, you're sitting on the worst freeway traffic you can imagine. And for some reason, there's a carnival of children in between your cars. There's these stray vagabonds on a million different forms of transportation. Here comes a Razor scooter.
Yeah.
Here comes a mom with a toddler on the back, but then the trailer. Oh, that's too bad. Here comes a mom with a toddler on the back, but then the trailer of 2 twin first graders weaving through your cutting off the Razor scooter.
Yeah.
Grandpa and Grandma decided to walk the second grader in. They don't know where to go. They've never even been to this school before. They're looking around. They're asking for help. Well, when I was at this school.
They're interrupting the stop sign guy.
Yes.
Like, how do I get
in?
Kids are then...
I just walk when it feels right to walk. I've been colorblind since 1984. Why is it beeping? What does it mean when it says wait? Is that telling the cars to wait?
Wait.
It's telling the cars to wait. It's my turn to go. The only way to safely navigate through that is to drive 2 miles per hour and put 2 adults in the front and be like, look everywhere. You just want eyes everywhere. It's the most stressful. It's so much. Oh, and by the way, your kid is angry at you.
They don't want to go to school.
Yeah. No, your kid. That's the other thing. You're not taking your kid to Disneyland. You're taking your child to go do their least favorite thing. You know? It really is like you're in chaotic traffic to go take someone to hell. You're like, I can't even just transport you here. I'm sorry.
It's your fault.
It's
your fault. Yeah.
Anyways, be patient with your friends. I think that's it. I think that's all we got. I'll talk about cleaning the trash cans next week. Ugh. Ugh.
Fantastic.
Is there anything else we had to get to today?
I think we can save it all.
I think so.
Yeah.
Too.
Let's
all
bank
right.
it.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey there, everybody. I want to give a special shout out to our As Essential as Oils Patreons. That is our highest level of patrons, $25 a month and up. Thank you so much for, just being a big part of this podcast and a big part of our lives. So, starting off with
Averill Griffiths,
Adam Bush,
Allison Nelson,
Andy and Darlene Girton,
Avery Starr,
Bonnie Galiendo,
Brandon Schoenberger,
Carrie Teague,
Christopher and Bridget Finland,
Code 2 Grow,
Courtney Eibling,
Damarius Diaz-Stevens,
Damaris,
I like saying it wrong. I did it on purpose.
Daniel Owens,
Demarius D.A. Steve. I know I did it on. I'm David and Melissa Cox.
Dave Hoagland.
Dustin Daly. I can say that one right.
Jason and Francis White.
Jessica Hanrahan.
Jonathan Ribiera.
Joshua and Nikki Platt.
Jordan Cowan.
Juliana Smith.
Lori Amos.
Lauren Rachel.
Matt and Sam Slosdom.
Got it. Michelle Carlson.
Nathan and Jennifer Merritt.
Nicole Carraz.
Rachel Wilson.
Rachel Kennedy.
Robert and Nellie Capen.
Stephen Menya.
And Tiffany Payne.
Thank you so much, everybody. Bye.
Bye.